get to a guy who is an expert on music, a lover of film. He likes the DC universe, the Marvel universe. It's comic books. It's some weird Korean film with subtitles. He does it all, and he comes and goes on a rainbow. How about it for the great Michael Snyder, everyone? How about it?
Hey, it's the Marky Mouth, Kim Possible, and Tony.
Tony, is he hot enough for you, Tony? It's not hot enough for me.
He seems a bit low.
Spark me up.
Bump him up
Spark
a bit.
me up, buddy. Come on.
Tony was in here, and he, I don't know.
I can hairily cure myself.
There you go.
Yeah,
There
okay,
we go.
There you go.
Hey,
Thank you.
listen, I have to say I'm so glad we're starting a little later these days. It gave me more time to tune into CNN and MSNBC this morning, and I got to say I am loving this latest episode of Arresting Development.
There's never been anything like this.
Do you remember when like Gary Hart and Thomas Eagleton were considered unfit for the executive branch?
Yeah, that's right.
One guy was partying on a boat, the other one had a few mental issues.
Yeah.
Now, anything
Seems so
goes,
quaint. Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, that was all like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood compared to this.
I say yes, my friend. It's been kind of tough.
It's been a rough week.
Week or so. For those of us who follow popular culture, there have been a number of, shall we call them, falling stars. I don't know how else to put it, but we lost Sinead O'Connor, the great singer-songwriter, the brave, the valiant, and not only did Ireland lose a favorite daughter, the music industry lost a force of nature and a beautiful voice, and we lost Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens. And it's remarkable how somebody known as Pee Wee had such a big impact on so many people, myself included. Manic, jubilant, forever pubescent. Pee Wee Herman, his character was funny and freaky and kind, and kind of an all-ages comedy triumph for the guy. Paul Rubens left too soon, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, he was only 70 or so, and
transformational talent is what I said on the air. I found the breadth of what he did with that one character, Pee Wee Herman. It would have been enough, but he was also a very good actor. And he, turned toward, you've seen him in all the other stuff.
In Blow, he was very funny in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie. He did a lot of good work outside of the Pee Wee character. If there's any cosmic justice, Pee Wee is off on his next big adventure. Yeah. I don't know where and how, but, we miss him. I have to do a mea culpa here. Due to circumstances beyond my control, I was unable to review the weekend's two, and this is in quotes, big movie releases. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which is an animated feature scripted by Seth Rogen and his writing partner Evan Goldberg with a pretty cool cast of voice actors. I was never a big fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I do love animated film. I hear this is interesting, although I looked at some of the examples of the work. It looked a little on the sketchy side, but here was my option. My option was a Saturday morning, like 9 a.m. screening, literally 25 miles from where I live. And I was like, I just went through Friday night, baby. No Mutant Mayhem. And again, I'm not a big fan of the franchise.
Right. This is interesting. This pulls back the curtain on the real world of you people who review these movies. It's 9 a.m. Saturday morning, and it's 25 miles from your home, and you're kind of lukewarm on the franchise to begin with.
Right. So I was like, I think another couple hours of sleep. Anyway, the other one is something I was eager to see because I like crazy movies with a lot of action and lunacy. The Meg 2, The Trench, which is, I guess, the sequel to the movie The Meg. It's starring Jason Statham. This is the sequel to his action hero versus an impossibly gigantic shark. A giant shark. I mean, a big shark. A popcorn muncher, which I will admit to liking as a guilty pleasure, the first one. So they wouldn't let us see it. The movie company would not let the reviewers into an early screening. And, of course, that's always a red flag.
Yeah, that pretty much tells you that the film might have some problems.
I'm going to review the trailer.
I mean, the poster is brilliant, right? This shark as big as a 5-story building,
Right.
That with its mouth open, with the teeth of the Yeah.
But wait.
a relentless carnivore.
I felt
Yeah.
bad about that, so I'm going to review the trailer. Looks like it was written by the shark from Jaws. That's my review.
All right, very well done. Okay.
That's how it looked to me.
All right, so moving on. What do you have a review of,
I
Michael?
do have movies to review, and it's nice to turn to the more indie fare and some foreign films. And we're going to kick off with a favorite film of mine this year. So far, the year so far is we're beyond halfway done. Directed by the immensely likable comedic actor Randall Park of the sitcom Fresh Off the Boat, and in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he plays Agent Jimmy Woo. Shortcomings is a very witty, insightful, and thoroughly modern and sometimes tender rom-com about unfulfilled relationship expectations. And this is kind of a universal problem, but in the case of Shortcomings, which has a savvy and breezy screenplay adapted from Adrian Tomine's graphic novel by the author himself, the issues are seen through the interactions of three 20-something Asian Americans from Berkeley, California. So there's a Northern California connection.
Nice, yeah.
Okay, there's Ben, a slacker indie filmmaker who coasts through his day job as the manager of a struggling art house movie theater. His disaffected girlfriend, Miko, whose gig at a Bay Area Asian American Film Festival leads to a summer internship in New York,
Disaffected.
giving Ben a chance to pursue what my people call shiksa goddesses. Apparently, Ben has a taste for the other.
I see. So he doesn't want an Asian girl?
Well, he's involved with one, and he clearly cares for her, and they have a relationship.
Okay.
But the relationship is it's kind of on the rocks, and she goes to New York for the summer. And the third party is Ben's best friend, Alice, who's kind of a snarky, brainy lesbian grad student, constantly on the make. She's constantly looking for a little intimacy from, a series. She's a serial monogamist. I don't even know that she's a monogamist. Anyway, considering the unsettled state of their relationship and his own wayward ways, Ben starts to suspect that Miko is cheating on him in New York, so he and Alice fly there. Ben is there to spy on Miko, and Alice to tumble into her latest casual relationship. The lessons everyone learns over the course of Shortcomings are true to life and not simple feel-good baloney. The three central characters are brought to vivid life by Justin H. Min, who plays Ben and is a star on the rise. He delivers the sharp and clever dialogue, bang, bang, bang. He's got charisma. Ali Maki plays Miko. She's quite good. And Sherry Cola of the recent broad comedy Joyride plays Alice and steals every scene she's in. Shortcomings is kind of resonant and satisfying entertainment that's often laugh-out-loud funny, starting with scenes from a faux feel-good movie that pokes fun at pop film hits lauded for representation, such as Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh, that's clever.
This is highly recommended. Shortcomings is in theaters. And man, Randall Park, love him on screen, and he directs this with a perfect
didn't know he was a
touch.
director. I thought he was just a performer.
No, I think this is early in his directorial career, but it promises good things.
You're a fan. Lauded is a ding word, and a resonant is a ding word.
Okay, Dreamin' Wild was written and directed by successful Oscar-nominated Hollywood producer Bill Pohlad, who also directed the Brian Wilson biopic Love and Mercy. But instead of examining the life of a superstar like the Beach Boys' Wilson, Dreamin' Wild is the dramatization of a true music business story similar to that behind the award-winning documentary Searching for Sugarman. Someone is dredged up from obscurity and has to deal with the ramifications.
Oh, wow.
So what does Brett always ask me?
Is it based on a true story?
Yes, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
This is for reals. 30 years.
I always felt that bit would be better after you laid out some fantastical kind of scenario, like superhero thing, then for Brett to ask, was it based on a true story? But he didn't do it that way. This is a credible, plausible, true story.
Right.
And indeed, it is a true story.
Right. And I just wanted to acknowledge Brett because we love him.
We do love Brett.
Anyway.
I think he's coming on next week, by the way. Anyway, go ahead.
Great to have him. 30 years after two teenage brothers 30 years after two teenage brothers released a pop rock album recorded on their family's Washington State farm, the duo of singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist Donnie Emerson and drummer Joe Emerson learned that the initially unsuccessful record entitled "Dreamin' Wild" has somehow been rediscovered by vinyl collectors and critics who are all gushing over it as a triumph. But the promise of finally getting acknowledged for the brilliance of Dreamin' Wild and the first bit of newfound fame, which, by the way, includes radio interviews and a New York Times article, throws the lives of the entire Emerson family, including Donnie's wife, Nancy, and the Emerson patriarch, Don Sr., into conflict as guilt and recriminations, justified or not, come to the surface.
Patriarch recriminations.
So what could have been rather pedestrian on some level is elevated by the cast, especially Casey Affleck as the troubled Donnie, who was the true talent behind the music of Dreamin' Wild. The great character actor Walton Goggins as loyal but marginalized Joe. Zoe Deschanel, the manic pixie dream girl herself, as the supportive wife Nancy, and ever reliable Beau Bridges as a rock-solid daddy Don Sr. The music, largely recorded and re-recorded by the real Emersons, is well-crafted and pretty catchy, and this deceptively low-key drama spinning out of the unexpected consequences of being thrust into the way after the fact spotlight is very engrossing. Dreamin' Wild is a subtle gem. It's available in theaters, and it'll play well at home, but it's a good film.
Wow. I like it. You started off with two good ones.
Right, because I didn't have to talk about the Meg, you know. I mean, let's be honest about it. All right, one of the most telling and brutally honest movies I've seen in about a love triangle, Passages, was directed and co-written by Ira Sachs, who did the emotionally turbulent 2014 drama Love is Strange. And that latter film, by the way, starred Alfred Molina and John Lithgow as a devoted older gay couple whose relationship has a series of unexpected setbacks. And similarly, Passages has a gay couple at the center, and they're played by German actor Franz Rogowski and a more familiar face to moviegoers, UK star Ben Whishaw. But they are both younger than the leads in Love is Strange, and so there's a different vibe. And again, it's some years later. And
this is not a German film, though.
No, this is actually made by American filmmaker Ira Sachs, and it is set in Paris, by the way.
Yeah.
Dr. Emil Schaffhausen.
Is Dr. Emil Schaffhausen the third in the film? No.
No. Okay. So the lives...
You mentioned a German.
The lives that these two guys live in arty contemporary Paris, where, by the way, the Rogowski character is a filmmaker. They're thrown into all kinds of trouble and conflict. They're rent asunder not by general hardships, but by one of them falling hard for a young woman played by French actress Adele Exarchopoulos, and she is the center of conflict again.
So they're both fighting over this woman?
No, they're fighting over the fact that the filmmaker in the couple is into the woman, and the graphic artist would like stability in his relationship with the filmmaker, but clearly that's not going to happen.
Oh, that's cool.
The
that's
filmmaker
cool.
is so
he's wrapped up. Yeah, he's so wrapped up in the woman.
He's so besotted by the woman that his
besotted,
longtime lover is shunned to one side.
Wow.
So the tension and the conflict. I mean, again,
that's fun. It sounds good.
These are this and Shortcomings are about relationships in free fall, essentially.
But this is it whimsical or rom-com-y, or is it a drama?
It's fairly serious.
Okay.
It's that, you know what, I'll be honest with you, there are funny moments because the conflict is unlike what we see. People generally choose a side and stay there, and the filmmaker is like, yeah, no, this woman, what my old lover, and the fact that they were together and they had like property together starts becoming a real issue as they have to kind of divide up their lives, or do they really want to end their relationship? And is this thing with the woman going to be sustainable? There are all these questions that are asked and answered to an extent in this movie. Passages, I thought it was really quite good, and I would say it's in theaters. And again, this is the sort of thing, by the way, there are subtitles. Much of it is in English, but some of it is in French and other European languages.
I knew it.
Dr. Emil Schaffhausen.
Yeah,
But for the most part, you'll be able to understand it, Mark. It's only a little bit of reading. I know it's taxing for you to have to read a subtitle or two.
How dare you? How dare you?
Okay.
Oh my
Kind of a
gosh.
big deal.
War Pony I got to talk about War Pony. It's an intertwined narrative about two young men living the hard life on a modern Native American reservation,
Wow.
offering a view of the poverty and self-destructive behavior that
my
dogs
God.
all too many in that
It's
circumstance,
going to be a downer.
as well as the shards of racism that don't particularly help matters.
I'll ding shards.
So you got an ensemble of indigenous characters, and we see the situation through the eyes and exploits of the community's disaffected, damaged youth. We got disaffected again.
Disaffected is a ding. And I intertwined, they're telling me, should have been a ding. Okay.
Anyway, the elements of this reminded me of Larry Clark's 1995 movie Kids. It reminded me of SLC Punk. It reminded me a little of The Bling Ring. Anything where young people are up to no good or having difficulties basically moving toward adulthood. Those sorts of movies are echoed here, but this has its own flavor. Amateur actors across the board bring serious verity, truth to this movie.
Verity.
And, in some ways, it reminds me of the recent French film, The Worst Ones, which is all about someone shooting a narrative film with amateur actors in sort of a French housing project, and mostly about the kids and how the kids are leading these difficult lives. And are they exploiting the kids, or are they actually giving people a window to this, difficult existence in, a world that should actually be more welcoming to everybody. And that's kind of what's going on here on some level. So this is powerful, disturbing stuff. It's beautifully co-directed and co-written by Gina Gamel. And check this out, actress Riley Keough. So great in the rollicking indie comedy Zola, and as the titular Daisy Jones in the rock and roll miniseries, Daisy Jones in the Six, and oh yeah, Keough is the granddaughter of Priscilla and Elvis Presley.
Oh, wow. That's extraordinary. And you liked her performance.
Well, no, she didn't perform in here. As I said, she's co-writing and co-directing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I liked her earlier performances in Zola and Daisy Jones.
I'm
in the
sorry.
Six.
That's why I was distracted.
I know. Am I hypnotizing you with my words?
You are.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
Bill, in his early 20s, is a hustler and a womanizer, and already well on his way to ignoring offspring he's had out of wedlock. Matho is 12 and way too old before his time, with a rather unpleasant home life. His father's enmeshed in criminal activities. Bill and Matho are our spirit guides, into this world, and it's an unsettling trip, but very, very well done. It's in theaters and available for streaming now. Again, it's called War Pony. And the kids, by the way, Jojo Baptiste Whitting, who plays Bill, and LaDamian Crazy Thunder, who plays Matho, are fantastic. They may not be experienced professional actors, but boy, they definitely hit home.
Wow. You really liked it. Enmeshed, Tom says, is a dang word. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm extremely impressed with this group because you seem to have liked all of these movies.
I got one more that I liked, and I'll bang through it real quick.
Please, go for it.
Klondike, which has received all sorts of international acclaim, is a Ukrainian drama made in the Ukraine, set during the summer of 2014 in the Donetsk region of the country near the Russian border.
Wow.
So there's plenty of tension there as pro-Russian separatists and Ukraine loyalists face off in firefights. And one of the separatists is Tolik, who lives with his very pregnant wife, Irka, on a rundown farm, along with Irka's pro-Ukraine independence brother. And into this inflamed region, a passenger plane crashes, causing all sorts of tumult. And
Wow.
It's like this little slice of life. And they're trying to, in particular, I have to say, Irka is trying to lead her life and trying to deal with being pregnant and get up and feed herself and feed her husband. Meanwhile, he's been wooed by the Russian forces to kind of be on their side and undermine independence in that area.
Wow.
And the conflict with the brother is absolutely fire. And I was pretty impressed with this movie. And again, this is entirely subtitled in English. It's in Ukrainian, like it or not, Mark.
Yeah.
But kudos to Marinya X-Gorbak, or Eric Gorbak, who is the director and writer of this thing.
Emil Schaffhausen.
I got
Was Dr. Emil Schaffhausen III in it at all? I mean, it does a foreign cast.
No. I don't think so.
But these are all new people we're not going to know because they're Ukrainian actors, you said.
Yeah, these are people that are not familiar. Again, it's the shock of the new on some level. you don't know these guys.
And so it makes it in a way more veritable, more real.
Yeah, you get that reality. A quick note for video lovers: Futurama. 20 years later.
Oh, wow.
Matt Groening. Sitcom, animated sitcom, where a delivery boy is flash frozen for 2,000 years and ends up in the New York City of the future. It's back 20 years on, and there's a lot of jokes about that. It's now on Hulu. As a matter of fact, when the title pops up, the letters spin, but it first says Hulu-rama, which I think is kind of amusing.
Oh, that's funny.
And it still has Billy West as Philip J. Fry, our time traveler, Katie Seagal as his one-eyed love interest, Leela, and John DiMaggio voicing the snarky alcoholic robot Bender, and all the rest of the crew are on board. Futurama still has it. Very funny, and of course they've updated some of the things that they cover. It's extremely topical. The first episode, Fry, our time traveler, is so distraught, he decides the only way he can get out of it is by binging his favorite show. Only the show has like thousands of episodes, so he puts on like virtual reality goggles and he sits and starts binging. So, I mean,
that is funny.
There's a lot going on Futurama on Hulu. Still funny, still great, and
And I'll remind everybody, Klondike very much liked Klondike from Ukraine with subtitles, but really special, and he recommends it. Michael,
difficult viewing. We call it difficult viewing, but
because of the stress involved on the characters.
Yeah, and it's dark and it's deliberate, and it's like living on the border of an inflamed geographical region.
That's in theaters, you were saying, or that's on streamer?
It is
in theaters,
but I think soon to be available.
It's called Klondike. War Pony was the film about takes place in a Native American reservation, or okay.
Yeah. I had no reservations about
and
this
all the I ought to take a ding away from you for saying that.
Okay.
All the problems that have afflicted that community are sort of played out in a lot of these characters, some of whom are amateurs, you were saying.
Most of the kid actors and the Native American actors are all basically first timers.
Which gives it a real special texture and feel. And again, that's called War Pony. Passages is the film. I think it takes place in Paris. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, Paris. Paris and the nearby region, because they have a house in the country that they start bickering over, the two lovers.
Yeah, with the distracted director and the lover thing, and it sounded like it was interesting, and he liked it. Michael says,
boy-girl triangle. And, if you know Ben Whishaw, he's Q in the Daniel Craig Bond movies.
Oh,
and,
sure.
He was one of the stars of the great miniseries The Hour, about the early days of British news TV.
Sure.
Anyway.
Was it Dreamin' Wild?
Yes, it was.
Dreamin' Wild in theaters. Really liked that also.
I liked it. Very subtle, but lovely, and
that's based on a true story. Dreamin' Wild.
Casey Affleck showing why he was decorated with awards for Manchester by the Sea in his current portrayal of Donnie Emerson, singer-songwriter.
And finally, Shortcomings, which is in theaters as well. Michael really liked that.
My favorite, probably, of all these
films.
films.
Oh, really? Shortcomings is your favorite. And remind everyone, that's the...
Randall Park-directed movie about the Asian American...
Right. It was an eye for another.
Yeah, he's a wannabe filmmaker, and he and his girlfriend are having issues. Sherry Cola, MVP. She's so funny as the lesbian best friend.
I love it. Shortcomings in theaters. Wow, what a bunch you served up with an enthusiasm.
Woo!
And even a tip of the hat to Sinead O'Connor and to Paul Rubens. Michael, love seeing you and look forward to your next visit. He comes and goes on a rainbow. Go Giants, Michael.
Go Giants.
Yeah. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.